Hello, Zero K fans! This is Shadow3 with another exhibition match stream, and also a potential rename to my stream title, Nanolays of Dawn. So I'm thinking of calling it now. If that doesn't make sense to you, well, Nanolays are apparently what the commanders use to build things. Everything uses to build things, or at least that was the case in Total Annihilation. I'm assuming that's still the case in Zero K. So we're going with that. Anyway, we're going to be having first match between Godde and Steel Blue. It's going to be on Ravaged, and this is going to be my more standard type of casting. It's not going to be the analysis cast. It's going to be more of the... It is going to be just the exhibition match cast, just going through the game. No pauses, no... Well, some analysis, but kind of light, but yeah. Standard cast. Anyway, let's get the game started. So we have... Right, so there is Steel Blue in the southwest corner of the map, going for Shield Blood Factory, and Godde going the northeast for Air Factory, so very quick Air Factory start, not that unusual on Ravaged. Ravaged is definitely a map that supports Air Factory start, on account of the fact that you only have the one choke point, and that's basically all you need to worry about. And Godde coming in with a single early Swift, just to scout out what's going on, and building Ravens. Pretty typical thing to do, but nice use of the early Swift there, see what's going on, see what has been built so far in case there is an Air Factor or any anti-air that has been built already, which there soon will be. I mean, Steel Blue very likely to start going for Vandals any time now. And Swift just continuing to scout along, does know where at least one of the defenders is, so the Raven can take care of that as it's coming along. No target chosen yet, and Steel Blue sending along a couple dirtbags just to know what's happening inside of Godde's base, in spite of the fact there is a bomber coming right along and going for a metal extractor, which is the best target. Does get hit by a couple defenders, but it'll take more than just two defenders to take out a bomber like this. In fact, Ravens have 1,000 health, and the defenders deal about... Yeah, they deal 300 damage each with their entire volley. So it takes 4 defenders to take out a single Raven. But Godde's not trying to build any further Ravens, just going with a single Raven. And the dirtbags do see somewhat what's going on in there. Going inside the base to see what's happening, and Godde has basically been spotted out for what they're doing, which is actually pretty low energy, pretty high metal. But at this point, it doesn't really matter. There's not much that Steel Blue can do against it. Trying to get the dirtbag against the metal extractor here, but does not do anything. And Steel Blue, surprisingly, not building much besides the defenders. At this point, Steel Blue is actually starting to get a lot of excess metal, and now we go building thugs, going for a ground army, relying on the defenders to deal with Godde's Air Force, and Godde instead going for additional Ravens, which is basically exactly what Steel Blue doesn't want to have happen. Surprisingly, Steel Blue not going for any fast expansion. Not building any more workers. Like, convicts actually do take 2 shots. Oh, yeah, there's a thug. Convicts actually did take a couple shots before you kill them. I'm a bit surprised that Steel Blue is not going for that, as that's typically what you do. When you're going against mass air like this, or early air like this, what you want to do is get a bunch of workers and spread them around really thinly. The Ravens will come around every few minutes to actually deal with your expansion, but it's like 1 metal extractor each. So you're just out-expanding the air player. But at this point, Godde's doing exactly that. Godde is the one who's doing the out-expansion of Steel Blue, and Steel Blue going for the main base, going highly defensive, not pushing out, and this is not going to work out at all. We're going to see pretty quickly that Steel Blue will not be able to do much. And Godde is just taking full advantage of the fact they have gone for air. It's a bit harder for Steel Blue to attack them, but like I said, Steel Blue is also just going to be able to expand as quickly as they'd like, because the Ravens aren't going to be able to do too much against that, except occasionally. Steel Blue is checking out the southeast to see if Godde has built that up, but no, they have not. Ultimately, there is... It is a... Sorry. It is going to be going in Steel Blue's favor massively. It's not going to work out too well for Godde, unfortunately, but Steel Blue is going to have... Sorry, other way around. Not going to work out too well for Steel Blue. Godde's going to have an easy time because Godde is expanding out, and Steel Blue deciding just to push forward. Doesn't really want to care about the bombers. Moving the Vandals with the thugs, which won't help too much. Actually, but no, it will get rid of one of the Ravens. Sorry, it does get rid of one of the Ravens, which is actually fairly useful. But Steel Blue not continuing to attack, still playing way too defensively. When you're playing against air, you do not want to play defensively. You kind of feel intimidated to play defensively, but that's the exact wrong thing to do. And now Steel Blue finally getting some convicts, but Godde at this point already nearly double the metal income of Steel Blue. That is what intimidation does. That is a big deal. But at this point, I don't see Godde and Steel Blue. Well, there's no fighting going on right now, but Steel Blue, like I said, I'm surprised they're not being aggressive. Like, be aggressive, be expansionistic, be aggressive. Just go out and do stuff, because Godde has very little power to actually stop you without either overcommitting to air or just having occasional periodic bombings that disrupt metal extractors. But that's about it. So yeah, Godde is completely unmolested. Their entire economy has had no issues thus far. They're doing just fine. Absolutely fine. While Steel Blue on the other hand is not doing particularly well at all. They're catching up. They're getting metal extractors here and there. They do have a lot of Vandals, and they're actually starting to overcommit given that there is a Cloaky bot switchover. And there's also an air switch from Steel Blue that has just started, about a minute left before it's actually done. But this would have been a lot better. Had Steel Blue gotten the metal extractors earlier on, they would have already gone up to here, possibly all the way over here where Godde is setting up. And it would have been pretty, actually, not just setting up, it looks like, yeah, Godde is terraforming this ramp, getting rid of it, or at least narrowing it out. Or, wait, no, never mind. What is this thing doing? Oh, it is, yeah, it's getting rid of it. It's just pushing up a bunch of terrain to stop bots getting up there. So Godde is basically just stopping Steel Blue from expanding, and really a lot of that has been psychological on Steel Blue's part. Steel Blue has had plenty of chance to expand. They just haven't taken advantage of it. Anyway, Steel Blue getting their airplane plant just about finished, and Godde having their Cloakybot factory finished, not yet building anything with it though. Or sorry, building a few glaives, but that's about it. Oh, not a few glaives, 10 glaives, my mistake. Building about 10 glaives from here, and Godde is basically just going to be able to, as long as they hit a weak point, they're going to be able to just take it from here. There's Steel Blue doesn't have much, although they actually are going for the strong point. They're trying to hit Steel Blue's army head on, which does mean they'll be able to get rid of the Vandals fairly easily, though the Outlaw here is going to be a problem as far as that's concerned. Yeah, right now, Godde knows where this army is, doesn't really know what exists inside of the rest of Steel Blue's base. I mean, knows what exists building-wise, but doesn't necessarily know the position of units. And Steel Blue, on the other hand, they basically know nothing about what Godde has. They know the main base air factory, and that is it. They don't even know about the glaives yet. Although, nice crane kill, I will give that. That was a very nice crane kill, and the glaives have been discovered. The Cloaky switch has been discovered, and Raven's coming in to try to deal with the thugs. Well, Outlaw, mainly. Partly the thugs, mostly the Outlaw. Won't be able to... Oh, never mind. Splash damage does actually work, but the Vandals don't quite do enough, and now they're going to go down to the glaives. Godde getting rid of pretty much Steel Blue's entire force at this point. That was kind of embarrassing. This is... Like, Steel Blue just does not have the economy to rebuild this. That's probably a really annoying part. Steel Blue cannot really rebuild that. They've lost all those Vandals. Now Godde has free reign of the air. There are a couple Swifts, yes, but Godde basically has free reign of the air. And Godde doesn't really need it because Godde has all this territory over to the north and over to the east. Steel Blue just has the southwest section. That's it. Steel Blue has fallen very far behind. At this point, Steel Blue's best bet would probably be, well, I guess to continue trying to get to that expansion. I mean, the Cloakybot factory is going to be a bit of a problem in that regard, but they could still continue trying to push expansions. But no, Steel Blue instead going pretty heavily for raiding, which is usually not a bad idea, but in this case, Godde has had quite a bit of time to prepare defenses, which rather makes it difficult. On the other hand, Godde just has more money, more resources. There is some attempt to get rid of the Ravens, at least. That is definitely good to do. Trying to get rid of the Ravens, not actually hitting that effectively, but they aren't... The Swifts are not being contested either. There are a couple Swifts coming up to try to stop the ones that Steel Blue has sent in, but Godde has not really built many of their own beforehand. I mean, Godde has like 2, basically, compared to Steel Blue's 4, although Godde is building them very quickly. They do have the defender's advantage on that. However, the Ravens have died. Steel Blue's attack was still successful. Is that all the Ravens? I believe that is, in fact, all of the Ravens. But it's also irrelevant because we have these glaives coming in here, and admittedly the Outlaws are handy for that. And Thuglaw Ball is the best way to pull the Outlaws forward. But even with that, there aren't very many of them, and the glaives can just run out of the way and bypass. Actually, the Swifts, knowing now where Steel Blue has set up, those glaives can just bypass everything. And a Raven actually apparently did survive, and that will be doing its job to get rid of that outlaw, and does so quite well, allowing the Glaives to pull in, get rid of the thugs. Thugs over the east side of this little opening as well, being taken down by Rockos. And I think Godde is just going to go for the kill, basically right now. There's not much more to it. Godde can just go for the kill, take out Steel Blue's force. Like, Steel Blue, basically, their initial mistake was not expanding when Godde went for air, and Godde did expand. That is what happens when someone plays air. They want to intimidate their opponent into not harassing their own expansions while expanding themselves, and the answer is basically to out-expand your opponent. Because your opponent's spending a lot on expensive units. Like, every Raven is 300 metal. Every Raven is equivalent to about 5 Glaives. That is a pretty big investment, especially if they have 2 Ravens. Like, at that point, they could have used that to build 3 metal extractors. Actually, 4 metal extractors, because metal extractors are 75 each. So 4 metal extractors are the cost of a single Raven. So if they build 1 Raven, or 2 Ravens, and you build, like, 5 Glaives and 3 metal extractors, you have the equivalent cost, but it's a lot harder for that air factory to stop you. A lot harder. Especially since those metal extractors are actually getting you extra metal. But anyway, Steel Blue, like I said, fell behind because of that. Trying valiantly to pull back in, though. Trying valiantly to try to get rid of these Rockos with the bandits. Trying to get rid of the Glaives, maybe with the... Okay, it's not going to get rid of the Outlaw. That's not going to happen. The Outlaw will not be able to do much. The bandits will be able to do something here and there, but honestly, Godde just has to push forward and win. Steel Blue trying to force as much metal as they can into their factory to actually get the bandits up in a decent amount of time. And honestly, Godde just really hasn't pushed very hard. These Glaives here, they haven't pushed in at all. There is no warrior or no real sign of warriors, just Rockos and Glaives. And that's all it really needs, honestly. The Glaives coming in here, these Glaives already could probably deal with the bandits pretty effectively. But Godde just playing it safe, just going for the rest of the map, trying to take everything first, trying to be absolutely sure that they're not going to lose. Not an unwise thing to do, and that will basically secure them the game. Like, Steel Blue is trying to build up a bandit army to pull back in here, but honestly, that's where Godde comes in with the Glaives to try to finish them off. Actually, it looks like... Yeah, just the Rockos. That's all that's happened so far. Glaives have not moved in. How many Glaives are there, actually? There are even more coming in, so there's that. And then, of course, there's all the Swifts. And a couple Ravens. Mostly all the Swifts. At this point, there are about a dozen Swifts. And, of course, they can hit ground. There's another additional harassment force that Godde has that they can just throw out there. And why not have a level 3 commander on top of that? Yeah, Godde at this point is just playing. Godde is just playing around. Steel Blue, they have lost the game, and Godde knows it. Anyway, that is pretty much going to be this game. That's going to be it for this game. I think, well, yeah, there's really not much point detailing what's going on in this game. Let's move on to... The next game is going to be Anarchid versus Magman on Trojan Hills, which should probably be a bit more even. I mean, admittedly, Godde is basically the best, or at least one of the best, like number 1 and number 2, because they haven't played in a little while. But yeah, they are pretty much tops for 0k, and that means this result isn't the most surprising. So I guess we'll just cut that to the end. I mean, there we go. Steel Blue throws in the towel, Godde takes that game. And like I said, moving on to Anarchid versus Magman on Trojan Hills. So stay tuned for that. We'll be up in just a moment.